Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Hey, what's happening? Happy Monday, good morning, and welcome onto the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Brought to you, as always, by Happy State Bank. Alongside Geoff Haxton, I'm Chois Woodman. Lucas White across the way handling us today. First one of these we've had in a little while, a few weeks, following a Texas Tech football win, so you can get your reaction in. All of that welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line through the 100.7 The Score mobile app and at 107thescore.com. How are we doing, Hax?
Have a game day?
It is game day for Red Raider Hoops. La Tech, Talvin Hester.
Talvin on the return.
Makes the trek back here. I was a little surprised to see the line. I mean, I guess I don't know necessarily what to expect, but...
what is the line?
13 points.
I
thought it would be around 20.
Okay.
So maybe Louisiana Tech's a little better than I was putting them in my head. Yeah, 13 was a little small to me. So we'll see.
No, I think it's about right now that I've done my research.
Yeah, okay.
They have some really good players, 10 returning letter winners, which is just wild to sit down. And yesterday,
in college sports now.
Yeah, yesterday, well, I actually said this in my interview with Mark Adams, but I was up at the entire practice yesterday. And, you know, I've now prepped for soccer, volleyball, men's basketball since the summer started. And this is the most returners. You know, I mean, there's a ton of people on a soccer team and quite a few on a volleyball team. And this is like the most returners that I remember. So I actually have my sheet, lots filled up here in front of me. Usually it's kind of bare, and then you got to go back and find where they were the other school, and you got to dig. And this one was, okay, he played last year. So they have a lot returning, and Talvin Hester obviously did a good salesman job to keep those guys from going anywhere else in the transfer portal. So
yeah, that's what's even crazier is that they've got a new coach and they've got that many letter winners returning, right? I mean,
they got yeah, exactly. He had to sell the program again.
Yeah,
you know, that's what you always hear. Well, my biggest recruiting job is just keeping the players we have. You know,
sure.
Ding. But yeah, should be fun.
Should be fun, and we've got some tickets to give away to it coming up a little bit later in the program. If you want to go to tonight's game, Red Raiders and Louisiana Tech, stay tuned, and we'll give you an opportunity to get some tickets there.
I'll tell you this, ESPN Plus is just, it's rough.
So you watched the game, the Saturday game on ESPN Plus. Yeah. I have heard from so many, saw on social media from so many that, hey, let's just throw whatever we can out there.
It's really frustrating for a guy like me that I can't get on the air in the fall unless it's volleyball or soccer. There's all this football going on. It's going on in town, and I'm listening to amateur hour. I'm listening to what feels like a collegiate class. It's like, okay, ready, break. I know we have class tomorrow at 9 a.m., but get out there and call this game in the Big 12. And it's going on all over the place, but I'm telling you, it's like missing plays for replays that just really don't have any effect on the game. The game is, we finally made that decision, but let's go back and look at that play again while this play's going on. They didn't obviously know that Texas Tech moves with tempo.
Really fast, yeah. And
good grief, just think if they'd have called a game with Baron Morton playing. I mean, we'd have missed 15 plays.
Yeah.
But the sideline reporter with the throwing pop lids it's like, what are you talking about? I
saw that clip. I hadn't gone back and watched the whole thing on the Plus yet, but I've heard plenty of horror stories where
and so I watch football all day long, though. It's not just in Lubbock that they do this.
I know.
It's a lot of places.
It is, and that's your future product. Not in football, hopefully not too much, because what happens in the future with the Big 12 hacks is the Big 12 is exclusive with ESPN in the future, right? Besides ACC Network. So you should, once the SEC moves to their their new TV deal once. Yeah, I mean you're gonna have a lot better product, hopefully, in the future, because it's not just who do we have on the scrap heap to pick up. But yeah, heard a lot of issues from ESPN.
Really, just again, even though it is ESPN Plus, you're supposed to put forth a good product.
Yeah, you're supposed to. I mean, it's college. It's Big 12 football. It ain't intramurals.
Go play intramurals, brother.
So yeah, we'll talk some football. Overreaction Monday. You got any overreaction from the weekend? Because there was some good. You can overreact to that. You can also overreact to the bad, like the Dallas Cowboys falling flat in Green Bay last night. Told you that was going to happen. I told you. I've been a Cowboys fan too long to know, hey, it's Green Bay. It's a logo. Even if they absolutely stink this year.
Can we say Aaron Rodgers is a bad guy?
Like a bad human being?
Yeah.
What, because of his little tirade on the sideline?
No, I don't know. I used to think it was a shtick. That guy, almost all of his deal was a shtick.
Oh, he's been a punk since he was a cow.
And now I'm like, man, this guy sucks. Because it was just,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess that's what the stars do too. They find a way to captivate you and make them look at me, that kind of deal.
Yeah.
And I did. I watched him for body language and he just seems like a big rich baby.
Yeah.
That plays about 50% of the time. Plays hard about 50% of the time. And he decided to, with McCarthy back in there, and I feel bad for McCarthy. He's I want to save this because I got some thoughts on this.
Okay.
There's so much you can learn now with these cameras and shots of these guys. And when they zoom in close, there's just so much you can learn about their body language and how they're handling situations.
And cameras on everyone.
Yeah,
nowadays,
everybody.
Too. Everybody.
Yeah.
There's a camera.
You're reading
watching.
lips. Joey McGuire. I mean, we were reading his lips like crazy.
Oh my goodness!
Lots of bombs dropped over the weekend.
A few bombs, yeah. I mean, Aaron Rodgers doing it as head coach for not running the football late in that game.
Yep.
He was not too pleased about that. And then he comes out in the media and says it afterwards when people are asking him. So that's always fun. Seems like a recipe for success. So we'll talk about the Tech Kansas game, of course. We'll dive deep into it. Good, bad, ugly. Tyler Shook. Good. Gus Johnson almost had me there. I almost said Shook.
You did say Shook.
Tyler Shook. Good. Tyree Wilson. Not good news. Tech defense struggled a little bit against what was an absolutely explosive offense on Saturday for Kansas, which feels weird to say. Lots to get into from that game. We'll react to it. Take your reaction on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Got a few headlines, including previewing tonight's tip-off between Louisiana Tech and the Red Raiders. All of that to come. It's the end of the bench on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Glad to be part of your Monday. You got the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score, 107thescore.com, and the 100.7 The Score mobile app. Alongside Geoff Haxton, I'm Chois Woodman. It's time for a few headlines to bring your way right now. And we'll start off with some big news out of the Big 12. Shane Lyons out as the athletic director at West Virginia. This news coming out this morning. Apparently there was a bit of a spat between he and the university president after West Virginia beat Oklahoma. Kind of weird timing on this because it's like, football team's doing something good. But
maybe The way that I picture that is he's been pressured and pressured and pressured to fire Neil Brown.
Yeah.
Then Neil gets a win over Oklahoma for the first time in
Gets a little snarky.
school history since they joined the Big 12.
Right.
They've
right.
played each other a lot more than you would think, even before the Big 12. And he says, hey, what up? Hey, what up,
Yeah.
My guy just,
Yeah, bro.
Yeah.
Drop
So
the pal.
when everybody
Yeah.
thought Neil was going to get the axe, they just said, okay. So that means Neil's doomed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is it. Now, the bigger Neil's been a dead man walking for a little bit. My question is, what does this mean for Bob Huggins? We get a Gary Patterson situation where, he kind of gets shoved out the door. I mean,
a lot of times you lose your guy and you're like, I'm X amount of years and I've seen it all and done it all. I don't want to go through this again with another boss. But you can also be on the other end of that where you're untouchable and it doesn't matter what you do. So
he's not though, right? I know he's a Hall of Fame coach.
I think he's untouchable up until a certain point. Like I think he would be untouchable, let's say, till April.
Okay,
and the season's over, and you didn't really do that good, and we haven't had
so we won't see it happen during
what we
the
expect
season.
from this program in a while, and now we need to. Yeah, I'm the new AD. Boy, this is going to be a big time transition period for West Virginia.
Sure it will. Yeah.
The head goes with Lions. You think Neil won't be far behind.
Mm-hmm.
Bob Huggins is day to day with his with the way he acts and who he is, and all of a sudden you might have like Randy Mazie as your kingpin of stability up there.
Randy Mazie is the kingpin of stability. Probably something he's never been called before. But Shane Lyons, athletics director at West Virginia, is out as of this morning. Texas Tech football, in case you missed the news, late Saturday night will play against Iowa State. Late Saturday night, 6 o'clock kickoff from Ames. Goodness gracious. That one is not the ideal kick time up there.
No.
Hex, I believe, projected 18 degrees at kickoff time. Holy cow. And you're going to be sitting on a beach, tanning your cheeks in Maui.
Level and I were sitting there yesterday, and he's like, have you seen the temperature? And I just was like, yeah.
It's like,
You know where I'm going to be? Yeah. Me
knowing,
and Clark having a Mai Tai.
knowing Level the way I do, he either gave you the bird or said something mean to you.
No, I didn't. We didn't.
Dropped a bomb.
Yeah, we didn't get to that point. But
When you, I was going to say, when you said, you know where I'm going to be, that's when Level you would normally be like,
yeah.
Pull a Chuck Hines on you. Texas Tech hoops, speaking of Maui, they'll leave later this week. But first, business to take care of tonight. The 25th ranked, which we'll get a new poll out, I believe, at 11 o'clock this morning. Maybe it's noon. Can't remember the basketball poll. We'll get a new poll out this morning at about 11 o'clock, I believe. Number 25, Texas Tech, taking on the Louisiana Tech Texters. Wasn't it Lady Texters back in the day?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought so. The Bulldogs coming to town. La Tech 1-0, of course, but their one win, as we went over last week, is over like a actual college. I think
Mississippi College.
I don't know if it's a JUCO or not, but this will be a better test, at least on paper, than the Red Raiders have faced in the first two so far. So that'll be a 7 o'clock tip-off. You'll find the game over on Double T 97.3 with coverage beginning at 6 o'clock tonight here on 100.7 The Score. It's the Cowboys Hour at 6, followed up by High School Fan Zone. This will be the final iteration of the Fan Zone, final week of it like this with 7 and 7:30 shows. Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. We'll switch the schedule up on the other side of Thanksgiving for more basketball-friendly schedules. You too can join us. Your thoughts, your comments, your questions, all welcome on the Yates Flooring Center chat line by that 100.7 The Score mobile app and at 107thescore.com.
I didn't know that Texas Tech was going to go all Colin Klein on everybody.
Just to run Tyler Shuck like crazy.
So I was sitting there watching, I go,
I mean, half of it was designed.
That's what Kansas State has done for years, and I know they didn't
pull the guard.
Now Kansas State would do it for 80% of a game,
right?
But I'll give this to Kitley. We have seen a lot. We've seen speed option, the crazy tempo, more of a power run game. But I did not expect hop run with Tyler Shuck. Absolutely did not expect that. And I was just kind of taken aback by it. It was just crazy to watch.
No, I like the aggression. I think there were some frustrations with running Shuck the week before, but obviously works a lot better this week. And you see it, let's say half of it was designed. The other half is Shuck making plays.
Right.
The offensive line, as we anticipated, lesser of a defensive line from Kansas, and you got some pieces back on the offensive line. So it did look better this week. But then there were a couple, 2 or 3 times where pockets collapsing and Shuck just escapes. There was one time where he steps up, makes a great throw. Another time where he escapes and goes and gets you a first down with his legs. Another couple of times there. So didn't anticipate that either. And that's the first text of the day. And by the way, on the Yates Flooring Center chat line, someone says, anyone think we'd see a game this season with Shuck as the leading rusher? Anyone? Bueller.
Picking up all the first downs and kind of breaking the backs of Kansas defense. And
yeah, I don't think Kansas expected that.
No, they didn't.
That probably helps a little.
There's the deal. They did not expect that, which I don't think anybody in the yard did.
No, if you would have told me Shuck's a leading rusher in a game, I'm saying that game's not going well for you.
Yeah, you're getting whipped.
It's the opposite. Actually goes pretty darn well for you as the Red Raiders.
I thought Cameron Valdez brought some juice.
I think he is a nice future piece for this team. I mean, he's right now, but
I can't remember exactly which run it was, but when he went down the right sideline there, I was like, hey, who's that? Oh, okay, yeah, that's Cameron Valdez.
He's such a change of pace from the other two. Other two are pretty similar runners between the tackles, can break outside, but don't just have a lot of speed beyond the initial burst for Brooks and for Thompson. Cameron Valdez is all burst. I mean, it's a lot of speed there and kind of get the ball. The other two kind of dance around a little more. Wait, find your hole, then go. And are very good backs. But Valdez is just different. Get the ball and he goes. So I think that's a great change of pace for you. And he did some good things for sure. Texas Tech, you and I sat and talked about it on Saturday, Hax. If you can run the ball, successfully, you're going to have a chance to win this game. 279 yards on the ground is definitely running the ball successfully. He gave up 272 and 190, to Devin Neal, which I undersold. I underestimated a little. But
yeah, you did. I told you.
But still, I mean, we sat here. I said that last week. This game is about Texas Tech's offense. If you're able to outscore Kansas,
and you told me on that,
yeah, what you're able to do, you're able to run the ball, you're able to throw the ball both.
Dictate tempo, and
yeah.
Got to give a lot of credit to the Texas Tech start. Now I think they let their guard down a little bit after they pummeled them, but look, they came out of the tunnel much more ready to play.
Yep, much
more ready to play. And so they got that padding, and then they could have a few trip ups here and there.
Yeah,
as we got through the game, but boy, they started well.
Able to afford themselves the trip ups by the cushion for sure. I got some tickets to give away, Red Raiders and Bulldogs for Louisiana Tech tonight. Stay tuned. We'll give those away in a little bit. Plenty more of your thoughts rolling in. Overreaction Monday. Get it all in on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. Hax, I have a crazy Big 12 stat for you, or a Big 12 possibility, I should say. We'll get to that coming up in a little bit as well. It's the end of the bench on 100.7 The Score.
Playing time is not required. This is the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
On to hour number 2, you're hanging with the End of the Bench on 100.7 The Score and 107thescore.com. Alongside Geoff Haxton, I'm Chois Woodman. Lucas White taking care of us as usual. Continue to join us with your thoughts, your comments, your questions, your reaction to what you saw on Saturday. Texas Tech taking down the Jayhawks in football. All is right with the world. Back to normal. Texas Tech 22-2 all time against the Jayhawks on the football field. So it's okay. There was a concern, a nervousness heading into that game. And also all is right with the world. The Red Raider offense looked potent again. Texas Tech able to put up quite a few yards in this ball game against the Jayhawks. I think this Hax was the Tyler Shuck envisioned when we were told at the beginning of the season, hey, this is your clear number one starter. This is a guy that ran away with the job. Hadn't seen that, the very tiny sample size that was not good against Baylor. Probably unfair to judge any of that. Didn't really see it against TCU when he comes in as a non-starter. But gets the first team reps and looks very smooth. Looks comfortable. That's probably the word I'd use best to describe it against the Jayhawks. And loved what we saw out of Tyler Shuck on Saturday.
Yeah, he was in command. The thing that Tech didn't do that's caused them to lose games, turn the ball over.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, we mentioned that there were a lot of penalties, but just overall, really good performance. And it was there for them to have one. I didn't realize just how kind of porous that Kansas defense is until I got to see it against an offense that can do some things. And that was Texas Tech. And they took what was there and didn't shoot themselves in the foot by putting it on the ground and throwing it to the other side. And that's the way it should have gone. Looking back at it, that's the way this game should have gone. And got to give Texas Tech a ton of credit. It gets that sour taste in your mouth, though, with Tyree Wilson coming around the corner and just kind of an unfortunate step. And, you go from looking one way to looking another way, and that's when he's out there, you're more formidable.
Absolutely. No
because
question.
The guy looks like a superhero.
I will say this game, and I don't know if this was scheme planned or what. Tyree Wilson was a guy that you really didn't see much of in the first half. Now, in the second half, he started to get going. I think Tech was being more conservative with the pass rush in terms of containment with Bean early in the game, but then pinned the ears back a lot more.
We saw him a couple times. Bean, when he gets out in the open field, he becomes a running back. And so if you can take that away from him, make him a passer, a guy that hands it off.
I don't know that there's anybody faster in this league than Bean. I mean,
yeah, he's fast.
When he got out there, he was smoking.
And Neal's fun to watch because when you're watching Neal, you're like, that shouldn't happen. That run shouldn't happen that way. He's just extremely patient. And so he'll just kind of cruise, make a decision, and go. And cruise, make a decision, and go. I like watching those guys that run that way. But like I'd say 50% of the handoffs, you're like, oh, we got him.
Mm-hmm.
No, we don't.
No.
He got 7. No, we got him. No, he
Scary
got
thing about Neal,
10.
he's a sophomore.
Yeah.
You get to see him or have to see him in the near future. I don't know. Hax, I don't know what Tyree Wilson, what's going to happen there, but it's not good. Pretty obvious there, right?
Yeah.
I mean, comes out on crutches.
You go to crutches and you can read his body language, his face.
Get the old pat on the back. Lots of hugs from coaches and from players. That's a telltale sign. We haven't heard anything officially. I'm guessing we'll hear something at lunchtime today when Joey McGuire speaks to the media, because he's usually pretty open, especially if it's season-ending type of stuff. I would be shocked if you see Tyree Wilson again, even in a bowl game this year. It just, foot injuries to big men are not good things. We see it a lot in basketball, obviously dealing with one right now with Fardaws. But It's not a good thing for Tyree. The good news for him, because I hate this as much for him individually as I do for the team, is a big blow to your team. But I think the good news for him is he's put so much on film already that teams are going to still draft him. Teams are still going to go after him. I don't think you're going to see it have a huge impact on his draft stock. It may have some impact, but this guy's still going to be a future NFL guy. So, because of what he's done all season long. He's lived in the backfield. But absolutely hate it. Few more from the chat line. Shuck looked like he was making quick reads, then bailed out if it wasn't there. More confident and decisive was a good look, in my opinion. Agreed. Yeah. Looked decisive is a good word. I think when Texas Tech's offense has been at its best, you've had quarterback play that has been decisive this season. You think about Baron Morton in that Oklahoma State game, when he first look of Baron Morton we got this year, he was extremely decisive with the football. Knew where he's going with it, and allows your offense to just flow so much more. Shuck was very similar. There were very few times where he's having to sit there and wait on guys to get open. He threw, I don't know if he threw guys open, but he did not give opportunities for Kansas to go get the football. And that it was extremely helpful. And your defense got a couple of turnovers. I mean, you got one at the end of the game when the game is still in doubt at that point, by Josiah Pierre, who comes in and does the strip sack. That's a guy who's going to have to step up in Tyree Wilson's absence. And he has in the last couple of weeks. He's started to really generate a pass rush himself. Here's an interesting one that we'll do coming up in a little bit, Hax. But someone says, rank the running backs in the Big 12. I'd almost consider taking Neal over Bijan. Almost. So we'll do that in a little bit because we're about out of time this segment. That's a tough thing to do. This conference has an absolute embarrassment of riches when it comes to running backs and defensive lines. Those two position groups are ridiculous in the Big 12. Because I think some teams would be like, oh, man, I'd love to have a Taj Brooks and a Sir Roderick Thompson. But they're bottom half of the league in this league. So I'm curious to get yours, where you'd rank the Big 12 running backs. We'll get to that coming up in a little bit. Hax has the highs and lows for us. Lots more of your reaction as we continue to look backwards towards the Red Raider win. We'll look ahead towards tonight's game, Texas Tech and Louisiana Tech. And you know what? Benchmark hotline open. Caller number 3 will get a pair of tickets to tonight's game. 806-771-0973. 806-771-0973. Caller number 3 can head to tonight's game against Texas Tech and Louisiana Tech. Next.
Definitely not the starters. You're on the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score.
Lots on the chat line. Want to catch up to that in a moment. Not much overreaction from the folks. It's a lot easier to overreact to negative stuff than it is positive in general. I don't know. I guess people in Fort Worth could be thinking, we beat Texas, we're going to win the national championship. That'd be an overreaction for them. I guess I got to quit doubting them, though. I've said that for, 3 weeks.
It's only been 3 months.
But you didn't think they'd win this weekend either. Or I guess almost nobody did.
Yeah.
I mean, Vegas had them as, 7.5 point
Fooled again.
Underdog. I guess they're going to go beat Baylor, and then they're going to go beat Iowa State, and they're going to be undefeated in the Big 12.
So bad.
Wasn't he? And TCU's not supposed to have a good defense. Was Gary feeding things over there to the other side? Is he like, hey, I'm going to give you your defensive game plan. Holy cow. Wild stuff. Wild stuff. You want to start it or me?
Go ahead.
I just got a couple here for today. First overreaction from the weekend. The Dallas Cowboys will not make the playoffs. They have probably been the main source of my overreaction this year. Not going to make the playoffs. They're going to, fuddle around, and Giants will get in the wild card spot, and the Eagles are going to win the division. Cowboys stink. Dak Prescott stinks. My other overreaction is I need to learn how to get the, what do you call the things that'll change your IP address location? There's a certain thing. You know what I'm talking about?
VPN.
There we go. VPN. I need to learn how to get a VPN scrambler or coder or whatever.
Oh, you're getting hit up by TCU still?
No. Just need to change the location so we can make bets, Hax, in the state of Texas.
Gotcha.
We would have cashed on our OU basketball bet. Remember? Made a note of it. We were going to bet Arkansas Pine Bluff over OU. So it was like a 20-point line. They won by like 12.
Okay.
So should have done that.
Did you hear our overall records?
Yeah, I'm ignoring that. This is overreaction. So I'm overreacting to the one thing that's positive. All right, last overreaction for me. Texas Tech's going to win out. All 3 games. Tyler Shuck looks great. Offense is moving again. He won last weekend. Texas Tech's going to finish 7-5 with the regular season record. Cold weather doesn't matter.
What are you, Elsa?
Yeah. Let it snow. I don't think there's any precip in the forecast. I had little snowflakes coming in, or more like ice pebbles. When I came in this morning, there were a few hitting the windshield. So, a little chilly outside. That's it for me, overreaction-wise.
Did you see Texas Southern pop to Arizona State?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
And this was in Houston, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay, good. That's good news for Tech, I guess.
Arizona State was up about 13 when I turned it off because I was watching a little bit of it. I was like, well,
Oh, well.
doesn't look like they're going to get it done.
Wow.
And, yeah, Texas Southern won.
That's good for
With,
Tech.
late game dramatics.
No, I missed that.
All right, here we go. 95% of ESPN Plus announcers shouldn't be calling Lubbock High versus Monterey. College football would be better with 95% less of replay. Tyler Shuck is calling Klein. Texas Tech will get a big challenge on the hardwood tonight. If you give me the physical wheel to spin, I'll break it.
Okay. I need to ask you that again by Wednesday because it is my wife's teacher wheel, and I don't want you to actually break
All I'm
it.
saying is we're going back to the digital wheel.
We're going back to
I don't want that stupid plastic thing. You leave that.
Lucas was a good sport about it. It's a great wheel.
I'm not going to spin that stupid wheel. Leave it in your wife's classroom.
My mom's class. My mom was a teacher too, so. Wow. Goodness gracious. Some T Money says, dang it, Texas A&M won the 2022 national championship in meat judging. Tech must have had a lot of injuries from starters. Yeah, what are we doing? It's okay. Aggies are on the struggle bus a little bit. Aggies lost the 6th game in a row. A&M is still a $90 million disaster. Auburn beat them with an interim head coach. Hilarious. Holy cow. There's another overreaction. Jimbo Fisher won't make it to next Monday. Wait. Timeout. Can't say that. I'm pretty sure they play. I think this week
UMass.
they're rolling bye week. Wouldn't it be hilarious? I guarantee you, if they lose to UMass, Jimbo Fisher won't.
They won't let him back in the state.
He will not get on the plane. He'll get the Lane Kiffin treatment there. Who else got it? Herm Edwards recently, right? Did he get fired in the end zone? The back of the end zone for
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. The regent and the president were waiting on him in the end zone.
Like, oh.
Come and get inside, man. A little dignity.
Yeah.
This isn't cutting it. We're going to have to let you go.
Yeah,
Didn't get to the tunnel.
Got to get to the tunnel. Someone said Holly Rowe conducted a great interview with Sonny Dykes, teared him up, talking about his dad. Great to see the reverence to Spike. Only part of the game that I saw. Okay. A few more texts. Back to the Cowboys. Aaron Rodgers equals a really bad haircut.
Boy, that's true.
This is pretty rough. Yeah. I've got a bad one going right now, and he's got me beat by a mile. Just a reminder that Dak is not an elite quarterback. Thanks again, Jerry. Clay says, great weekend. Tech wins. Texas gets beat, and the Pack beats the Cowgirls. Thanks, Clay. Salt, open wound, all that sort of stuff. To the officiating. The best was when the head ref with the open mic telling the head coach of KU, hold on! Did you hear that?
That was hilarious.
He yelled it. And
it was so loud.
I had it up.
Hold on!
I had it still up on our board, too.
Did
so
you?
It blasted in the earphones. Yeah, I was like, oh.
Hey, have you having
Hold
to do
on.
anything with that emergency sounder that you talked about at the start of the year?
I think it's quiet enough where we miss it.
Okay.
No. It's that thing, and I think I don't know if they've turned the decibels down on it where it's not as loud. I don't know. It's different. Cold weather. Someone says, I was at the 2012 AFC Divisional at Denver versus Baltimore. 13 degrees at kickoff, and it was 8 when it ended. Fortunately, there was no wind. Yeah, wind chill's supposed to hit the single digits in this game on Saturday. I hope the Red Raiders can, take the formula that you had on Saturday, which is the run the dang ball formula.
You're going to have to have it.
You're going to have to run with some success against Iowa State if you're going to win this game. Tech opens as a 3-point underdog. I believe it's up to 3.5. So 3.5-point underdog in Ames this weekend. It's the end of the bench. Lots more on the Yates Flooring Center chat line. We'll dive into some of that coming up next, as well as another basketball team melting down. Tell you about that. Get a preview from Haxton, the Louisiana Tech Bulldogs, and give away tickets in hour number 2. All of that ahead. It's the end of the bench on 100.7 The Score.
Bringing you the truth, or something like the truth. This is the Bottom Line Podcast from 100.7 The Score.
That's right. It is time for Ask the Benchwarmers. Get those questions in. Handful of them in so far. We actually have had less football reaction today than we do normally on a Monday. Just, I guess, because it was a nice win. There's less to whine and complain about, which is a good thing. But if you got questions, get them in.
Isn't it kind of like when you don't want to schedule a rival because you're bigger than them and you kind of have nothing to gain, just everything to lose?
Yeah.
It felt that way. Like, hey, if you win, it's Kansas. You're supposed to win.
Right.
If you lose, oh my gosh, you lost to
Sky's
Kansas.
falling.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even though they have the better record than you and they're already in a bowl game.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think this one didn't have as much oomph as one question comes in. Someone says, all the people leaving the game early, what is that about? I'm old, backpacking woman, and it's not over till the Matador song. Wimps. So, yeah, I don't get the leaving early. I can sit there and say that from my perch up top. That's warmer. But anytime I've ever gone to a game, I've left early once, I think. And it broke my heart. We left a Boston Red Sox game. We were at Fenway Park, and we left, I think, in the 8th inning because we had to drive to Syracuse that night. Yeah, we had a schedule to keep. And I was like, Dad, do we have to? But he's like, Mom really wants to go. Or I don't even think it was Mom. He's like, we really need to do it for Mom. We need to, so it broke my heart. It's just something was raised on. You don't leave games early. If you're getting blown out, you don't leave games early. I understand it far more if it's a blowout. I can't ever wrap my head around half the students leaving at halftime in a one-score game. It just doesn't compute for me. But it's a different generation.
Times have changed so much.
Yeah, they have.
You look at the running time of that game, 4 hours.
Yeah.
That honestly, if you throw out like walking to class, which I don't know, or getting on a scooter and going to class, 4 hours outside may be more than they're out all week long.
You're probably right. You probably are.
And they're like, I mean, I can see them going like, and this is, again, the attention span's like, what's next,
Yeah.
Like Joey McGuire says, what's next?
What's next?
What's next is the bar. What's next
We can
is
wait.
the warmth of the living room and the television.
What's an extra
We
2
can
hours?
watch this game at home and finish it.
I don't get it. Someone asked, is the Oklahoma game time getting announced this morning?
6:30.
Has been announced, yes. 6:30 p.m. for the Oklahoma game time. I don't know why I just said p.m. If it was a.m., that would be pretty wild. Did y'all hear the girl dropping F-bombs about the refs on the ESPN Plus broadcast? Did you catch that?
There's always that going on, it seems like. Yeah.
But it seemed like this was almost like directly into a crowd mic or field mic or something. I don't know. It was pretty bad. These refs bleeping suck. I mean, she's trash, too. You can tell she's drunk.
All right. Give me another White Claw.
These refs. And it was right after I think the bad roughing the passer call. Man, what do they got against Tyree Wilson? Now he's hurt, so they can't throw flags on him. But 2 weeks in a row, he's had 2 really rough calls go against him. Who is let go in order? Neil Brown, Jimbo, or Cliff? I think they're all gone by the end of the year.
I think you got it.
That order?
Yeah.
I think Cliff is first.
Oh, really?
I think he's fired this season, in mid-season. He's been flirting with the top spot on that list for next.
They got a win yesterday.
They did get a win yesterday.
Now they got to go to Mexico City and play whom? It's either the
I don't remember.
Giants or the Chargers.
It may be the Chargers.
Oh, sorry. It's either the Bolts or the
Rams.
No, the 49ers.
I'm not sure.
One of those two.
Yeah.
You're not going to like this. 49ers got a great chance to get to the Super Bowl.
It is the 49ers on Monday.
It's a Monday night Mexico City game?
I think so.
Okay. I like the international. I mean, it doesn't affect me at all. I kind of like the ability to wake up on a Sunday morning, get ready for church at 9 a.m. and turn a football game on, like yesterday. Josh says, let me hear y'all talk about the Cowboys games so I can hear you talk about the Packers. Thanks, Josh. Our resident Packers fan in the building. We talked about it. Cowboys suck. Packers aren't any good, so don't feel good about it. Cowboys just suck. Your team didn't go anywhere. Bullfighter says, Benchwarmers, if you were hired as a head coach of a football team, who are you picking as your staff? Raymore employees and or listeners? That's 10 spots on a staff. That's a lot. I'll just go with offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. If I'm hired as a head coach, oh, man. I'm really avoiding everybody on the staff.
Is Taylor Beatles on the staff?
Oh, yeah, Beatles counts. Beatles offensive coordinator. That's the right one.
We got our OC.
Okay, that's the OC. Defense? Yeah. Who's our best listener? Defensive mind. You know what? I'm going El Jefe. He seems like he'd be a good
I'm sorry, but that's
guy.
a horrible choice.
I'm trying to suck up to him. I don't know why. The Tech Hoops guy texted in too, said that fist bump he gave us, that was the tipping point that helped us win.
That changed the whole day.
You got to make sure you do it for the OU game. Come say hi whenever we're on for the OU game.
Yeah, probably about the same time.
Yeah, probably,
I get
probably
back.
right around the same time. Yeah. Viva73 says, do you really believe Tech will be in a bowl game?
Yes. Yes, 100%. Yes.
Yeah. Offense, the question marks mostly lied with the offense. And you're
going to light up some thieves, man. Telling you.
I believe you'll be in a bowl game. Now, most likely, where most have you projected is playing somewhere in Dallas-Fort Worth. The First Responders Bowl or the Armed Forces Bowl.
Where Chois has to walk. We've established that. Chois has to walk.
I have to walk to the bowl game?
The Raymar compound.
I don't think I agreed to that.
To the bowl game if it's in the DFW area. And he's raising money for charity. And we don't forget the Woodman Reserve match.
I don't think I agreed to that. This one says, Hax, what is the flight? Do y'all have a flight plan for Maui yet?
Yeah, I don't know the particulars other than when we leave, which is 9 a.m. Friday.
9 a.m. Friday.
I can tell you a little bit more here. Hold on. Okay. Leave at 9 a.m., landing in Maui at 1 p.m. local time, and we'll get back 9:30 Thanksgiving evening.
9:30 Thanksgiving evening. With a trophy in hand. We give out trophies.
And a surfboard. I think the
surfboard.
Trophy may be a surfboard.
That's a pretty cool trophy. It's hard to fit in the trophy case, but
you ought to see what we take on these trips. We'll make room.
Oh, I believe it. Benchwarmers. Is there a timeline for when next year's football schedule is released? You know, I actually talked about that a little before the show this morning. I think a couple weeks. I was told, I think Geoff sat on with us one of these Saturdays and said before December, I think is what he said, that they're anticipating before December. So that would line up with a couple weeks. It could be, I wouldn't be surprised if they release it this week or next week or
can't wait for
November 29th. Yeah, the curiosity's killing me on what's going to happen all across the board. How the new teams fit in with the old teams, with the teams that are on the way out. It should be very interesting to see.
I told you about, having to be ready and have your awareness at an all-time high, no matter really who you play. Here's my example for that. The Colorado Buffaloes lose to Grambling State on Friday, November 11th.
Yeah, so
83-74.
Uh-huh.
Beat 11th ranked Tennessee yesterday, 78-66.
Crazy. Tennessee dropped, I think, 11 spots, too, in the polls. They're one ahead of Tech now. Last question. Woodman, favorite football stadium you've been to this season? Not just trying to boost your ego because you've been on the tiny wheel, but I think Boone Pickens it's just a cool setup. The giant video board, the Gallargaiba next to it. That one, and I'd probably put the NC State one at number 2. That was a pretty cool stadium, Carter Finley. But those two. All right, that's all the time we have. Appreciate all the comments, reaction. Yates Flooring Center chat line was good today as usual. We'll be back at it tomorrow. For Geoff Haxton, Jackson Frazier, I'm Chois Woodman. Been listening to The End of the Bench. Bottom line up next on 100.7 The Score.
This has been the End of the Bench podcast from 100.7 The Score. Go to 107thescore.com for more from the Double T Sports Network.